Yeah, people, yeah. We're singing. The R&B Ensemble Showcase, the Columbia College Commencement Choir, and the Columbia College Jazz Ensemble. Yeah. It is now my pleasure to ask Thomas O'Donnell, a lecturer from our English faculty, to present this year's award for Student Academic Achievement to undergraduate valedictorian Quincy Oliver. Quincy is a candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Cinema, Art, and Science. Quincy, yeah.
Hey, good evening. Y'all look great in your square hats. Cherish it. It's probably the one day where you can get away with it. Good afternoon, graduates, parents, family members, friends, faculty, and administrators, and all others. When Quincy asked me to introduce him today, I was honored, but also a little bit surprised, mostly because I know next to nothing about his area of expertise, something to do with sound waves and hearing. In a college with exotic majors like fashion design and music composition and film editing, the rhetoric and writing courses I teach can easily be seen as fossils. Indeed, the art of rhetoric goes back to Plato, back to Aristotle, who defined it as finding the available means of persuasion. Well, in a class with a student like Quincy, the available means of persuasion are taken to a new and sophisticated level. I'm tempted to employ the cliche and say that Quincy thinks outside the box, but anyone familiar with Columbia College students knows that most of them are well outside the box when they arrive. Indeed, I've learned more about So if thinking outside the box is something we cherish, I'm inclined to say that Quincy can also detect new and unexplored areas already in the box, just not yet noticed. As a student in my classes, Quincy's contributions were downright edifying. His thoughts and words made us better thinkers than we would have been otherwise. Since that time, Quincy and I have discovered many common interests: juggling, billiards, film and philosophy, narrative theory, physics. The eclectic nature of these interests is worth noting, since the hazard of an institution like Columbia is having students limit themselves by adopting a trade school mentality, caring about theater but not caring about history, caring about fashion design but not caring about biology or physics. Quincy embodies just the opposite, a student who realizes that imagination without knowledge is shallow, that all education ultimately is self-education, that curiosity is a power to be nurtured, not a childish habit to be replaced by inert facts. G.K. Chesterton said, "There is no such thing as an uninteresting subject, there is only an uninterested person." Chesterton's quote resonates with Dr. Kim's observation that the challenge of an institution like Columbia College is not to bestow facts or package knowledge, but to teach students to learn how to learn. One thing jugglers have in common is that they've learned how to break things down into manageable steps. You can't juggle 3 balls until you've mastered 2. You can't do much with 2 if you haven't mastered 1. And mastering 1 involves the painstaking training of how to throw a ball to just that location where the catching hand awaits. Jugglers know how to break things down, and Quincy knows how to do that too. Not all of us can juggle, but all of us can applaud and welcome this year's 2015 valedictorian, Quincy Oliver.
Lordy, oh my goodness, can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay. When I told my mom I was giving a speech, she goes, "Well, be sure to speak up, because everybody's got to hear you." Okay, cool. Well, first of all, I'm going to do something that is much more fitting. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put this hat on. Okay. All right, so I didn't get my speech in time to use the teleprompter, so we're gonna kick it old school with the piece of paper. But first I want to give some thank yous, because if I didn't know such amazing people, then I wouldn't have to do that. So I want to thank Tom, first of all, for just always being there for me and being a role model. You're gonna make me tear up. And then I want to thank my lovely friends, I want to thank Nick and Bobby and Doug and Travis McKenney, all of you guys. I want to thank my lovely girlfriend, Kelsey Holt. Stop. I want to thank Larry Capson and Tony Sipozich because they're always looking out for me. I love those guys. And treat your sound people nice because we love film too. Right? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And then also I want to thank my mom and my dad. They're right up there. Everybody look at them. I love you guys. But yeah, so I'm the valedictorian, which I guess when they told me, I was like, my brain was like, oh no, because I guess like I feel you, because making sense really isn't my forte. So like as you guys know, I'm one of those people that says like good when people ask me what I'm up to, or when I'm at a restaurant and the server will be like, enjoy your food, and I'll be like, thank you, you too, you know. Yeah, but honestly, I think that the biggest reason why I was nervous to come up here is because I was afraid. I was just afraid to do it. I'm just a little bit nervous, and there's a lot of people, and there's lights, and I can't see, and I was afraid that I was going to mess up. And I think the one thing I was afraid of the most was disappointing myself. Because you're always riding that thin line between thinking that you're the best and then worry that you're going to give up on yourself. And so to remedy this, I've decided that I'm going to throw away my fear. I'm going to be done with that because that's over. And I'm just going to jump in the water, and I made a list of things that are really embarrassing about myself, but 100% true. And I'm going to tell you guys all of those things. So let's get started. I'm going to try to start mild and then work up to the real stuff, you know. Okay, so first one. When I'm walking really late at night or like in a place where I don't think anyone's looking at me, I do that crazy walk that everyone does, where it's like a half jog where you're like moving your hips really hard trying to get to where you're going. And you know, like I grab my bag because I know that walking is going to get real serious. I don't want to lose anything. And then of course when people see me, I like play it cool because that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, so that's the first one, pretty mild. Second one, sometimes I stand in front of the mirror and just lip sync my favorite songs. Yep. Make faces at myself, dance, you know how it is. And I think everybody does that a little bit, but I feel like what sets me apart is my dedication. I get really serious about this, so it's kind of like practice. You know, I'll do the same song 4, maybe 5 times in a row. If I mess up one problem area, I'll rewind the song to make sure I get it perfect. Because I settle for nothing less than excellence on my lip syncing in the morning. Yeah. Number 3, sometimes I know that I'm gonna go number 2 for so long that I bring my laptop and the charger cord in the bathroom with me. Yep. I call it the college camping trip. Also, another thing is sometimes when I see someone walking towards me and they're too far away to say hi, I'll look down and kind of walk a little bit more because they're not at a socially acceptable distance to say hi yet. And then once they're finally in that zone, then I'll look up and act like I just saw them, like, oh, hey, oh my God. Make a weird face and then continue jogging really hard. Yeah. And then there's been more than 12 occasions, and probably in the past like couple months, where I'll be watching a scary movie and I will get so spooked and freak myself out about ghosts and stuff that I can't sleep without the lights on. But that being said, though, I know that the end of school is really hard, and there's also been a lot of nights where I can't have a hard time sleeping, and it has nothing to do with ghosts. Yeah, because I guess I didn't really understand what it meant for someone to be there for you until recently, because I know it's hard. Like, sadness is a place, it's not just a feeling, and it's a place that your mind goes, and it's really helpful to have someone there for you with that. Yeah. And so now I'm going to say a couple more things. These ones are getting progressively worse. I'm going to start off mild. I'm a terrible speller. I don't know the difference between who and whom, and I don't know who or whom to ask about that. Okay. When I was 13 years old, I had a sexually questionable dream about Queen Latifah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's a great artist. When I was 8 years old, I got my boy part stuck in the zipper at school. Yeah. Took 3 teachers to help me get out of that, literally. Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry. When I was 11, I thought that girls peed out of their butts. I just didn't know how it worked. Honestly, I just had no idea. When I was at summer camp, when I was young, I was caught pooping in a urinal and told them that it was an accident. And the last one, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. The last one is that when people ask me if I'm the valedictorian, I reassure them that I still do eat meat. And so now is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's what President Kim was talking about. It's the moment where everybody's like, today's the first day of the rest of your life. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm not gonna do that. I decided to make another list of things that I think are really important. It's a very extensive list. No. So let's start. This is one thing that I wanted to say to you guys is, don't ever for a second think that it's justifiably shameable to not be motivated to do something you don't want to do. Thanks. The reason why you're motivated is because you love doing what you're doing. And the bottom line is you can throw away all of the that's just life talk and just do what you love, honestly. Unless what you love is murder, then you're going to jail. They'll find you. Along the same lines, half the battle is just figuring out how to enjoy what you love doing. Ugh. I'm sorry. And also, I'm sick of people telling us that we can do anything. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to, Quincy. Like, don't do that. Because I realize, do you know what makes people amazing? It's because we can't do anything. Like, if you made a robot that could literally do anything, then you would never be amazed at what it's doing. The simple fact that we can't do certain things makes it amazing when you do it anyways. So, it's not about whether you can do something or cannot do something. It's just what you think about yourself. And then the last thing I want to talk about is fear. Don't ever be afraid to put yourself out there. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's harder than it sounds. And I'm trying it out right now. Don't be afraid to call for the job opportunity. Just do it, even if you sound like, excuse me. Just do it. Be honest with what you want in your relationship. Talk to people like they're your boo. Talk to them. Admit to yourself when you have a problem. Just bottom line, just do that. Tell your mom and dad that you love them, even if you think it's gonna be awkward or it's not the place to do it. Just. Don't be afraid to get on stage. That's another one. And then also just put yourself out there and be who you are. Because chances are that someone is feeling or is thinking the same things that you do. And if you give them a chance to figure out what you're feeling and thinking and love you because of it, then that's one step closer to them being able to love themselves for the same things. So I want to end with the fact that I think relationship is the theme of life. So have a good one with yourself. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Quincy. It is. Yeah, how do you top that, man? You know? It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Stan Weirden, Senior Vice President and Provost, who will confer a special honor on a faculty member.
Thank you, Daryl, and good afternoon.